Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I've got something exciting for you. As you read in the title of the video, this is going to be a video all about the East Broad Top Railroad. So welcome to the East Broad Top Railroad. For those of you who are wondering where I have been and all that fun stuff, no, I'm not dead, I'm still around, and this is what I've been up to for at least the last 2.5 months. Prior to that, I just took a long hiatus from Trainz, but I'm getting back into Trainz with a bang. Without further ado, let me show you what me and a couple of my other buddies have been up to, creating this giant monstrosity of a route. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, here we are at the home of the East Broadtop East Broadtop Foundation. We shall not mention the other group, but we are at the historic shops at Rock Hill Furnace. Here we have modeled everything out pretty distinctly to be what it was. So this is set in the 1950s, keep in mind. This is not a modern version of the route. So for those of you wondering where the Trolley Museum is and all that stuff, this is still very much clearly a work in progress route. But this would not be the Trolley Museum at this point in time, because the Trolley Museum didn't exist until after the EBT shut down. So this is anything prior to 1956 is what we intend to model. So I'm going to keep this brief. I recorded this video before and it went way over over time limit, so I'm not going to take that long with this one, I promise. I'm just going to show you an overview of the route, and then from there I'll see where I'm at time-wise. But here we got some cool old EBT engines. These are on the DLS, but these are the locomotives that they would have used prior to the acquisition of the Mikados. So pretty cool little engines here. I think one of the coolest things is that this one actually has a single axle truck and a double axle truck. Whereas this one's pretty bland and stuff, but it definitely looks cool, and I think they're really cool models. They're free, they're on the DLS, they're a little bit old and dated, but you know what, go check them out, they're fun. Anyway, moving on without making you guys dizzy. So this is the East Broadtop route. Right here we got the town of Rock Hill Furnace. We've got the station of Orbisonia, and here we've got the town of Orbisonia. Now, clearly, the town of Orbisonia is not 100% complete. In fact, it's not even close to being complete, but for now, it is what it is. Alright, moving on. This is a proto-lance route, which means that it is accurate to a certain extent, time-wise. However, there are certain very clear deviations off of what would actually be here in real life versus what we just kind of threw in there. Clearly the buildings aren't going to be accurate because, well, there's limitations in Trainz, but there are more obvious differences. Like, for instance, right here, this is what I imagine the president's house to be like. Clearly, in real life, this is not here. It's never been here, but it's something that I really wanted to use this asset for, and I decided to put it here because it deserves to be seen, damn it. In real life, the president's house is actually this White House up here on the hill, and the vice president's house would be this teal and yellow one there. But I digress. I love the asset, so certain ideas and certain assets were like, you know what, I'm going to kind of deviate from the plan and just kind of do my own thing. I'm a good freelancer. I love doing my own thing. I love making stuff up, so it's definitely one of those things that, you know, for fun. But anyway, moving on. So the yard's complete. We got this lovely bridge here. I got the outside of town. We crossed the road here, and we have the lovely East Broadtop Railroad Bridge here that goes over the little creek. The creek, you know, disappears in town here. We got a really cool hotel, which this is again one of those proto-lance things that I just kind of made up on the spot, but I think it looks amazing, and yeah, it's really cool. I happen to love it. I love the way it looks and all that. Here we got a sewage or water processing plant, something. It's a placeholder. I don't really like the steam effects that come off of it too much. It makes it look like something's burning over here, so we're gonna change it. But that's just the way it is for now. But moving on. In the 1950s, there would be no shopping center here. In real modern day, this whole field here is one giant shopping center / nursing home up here. But in the 1950s, this was very much still not developed. So crop fields it is. But here we got our first real cut into the dirt here. We got a lot of farms. So I'm really not going to go over farms. So we got farms here. We got some cool scenes like this. This is one that I came up with here. We got a really cool little lake here. I'm really thinking about switching out the water with actual water, because I just think it looks so much better. But we'll see how it works. But I happen to love the way the water looks in this game, just with it being water. So we'll see. But anyway, we got ourselves more farms here. We got ourselves an ice cream shack. Keep in mind, this is a work in progress route. This is not what we're going to release, so there's going to be some weird stuff. Like that barn's a little bit floaty. And this was the old ice cream shop that we were using. I decided I didn't like it, so I found another one. A lot of these assets that we're using are on DLS, so you should not have to worry about too many unknown assets. Here we got a nice little house. I really don't have time to get into all the nitty-gritty details, but here we've got one of the most famous, if not the most famous, photographed portion on the modern day restored East Broadtop route, which is McMullen Summit. In the 1950s, this was just somebody's driveway, so we got a tractor going over it. We would have used the other asset that's actually more accurate for it. However, we wanted to use dirt splines to go across it, and the other one was just too narrow, and the dirt spline would crop right through it. So instead, we had to stick with this one. So my apologies, more Proto-Land stuff. But you know what? I love this route. I think it looks amazing. So I don't really care what anybody says. Anyway, moving on down here, we got a nice little house here. And then we got actually one of my most, I'm proud of this scene, because this is the scene that this is fully from, it was me and another developer, and the other developer, started to lose motivation, and I really have been the driving force behind progression in this route, as you'll see. But he comes through and he's really good with the grass. I can't take credit with the grass. I've tried with the grass, but he is so much better with sticking down grass and making it look real nice. And he'll come in and put the finishing details in here, like the scrap and all this other stuff. I think there's a boat somewhere over here. Yeah, it's really cool. But he does all the real like finishing details, and I just kind of try and get going as far as I can. But anyway, here, this is actually one of the very few things that, well, no, there's a lot of things that I've gone balls to the wall with detail over, but this is one of the things that I take full credit for, which is the horse farm. So this is completely fictional. This never existed in real life, but I had an idea. I was talking to one of my buddies from Trainz, and I'm like, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we put a horse farm in here? And he's like, yeah, that would be interesting. I really don't see that too often. So I did. It was just something that I just started, and it turned out real well, and I love it, and it's going to stay, damn it. But we got some animated horses here, which kind of make it look a little bit more realistic from the road here. And then here we got a horse walking through. Don't look at it too closely, or otherwise it'll ruin the illusion for you forever. But here we got some animated horses thrown in here with some other horses. Sadly for me, unfortunately, they're not animated for as far away as I wanted them to be. But there we go. You got our walking horse there, which is really neat. Like I said, don't look into the walking horse too closely if you don't want your lovely illusions of it walking to, you know, be broken for you forever. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. But moving on, so very proud of that. We got some horses jumping. They're not the most, you know, detailed in the world, but it's the only thing I can find on the DLS, so they're staying. But moving on, because I really am on a time crunch and we've got so much to explore. We got here lots more fields, a lot more driveways. We do have crossbucks on everything. Going down here, we really step out of the valley and really dive into the the open fields, as it were. But here we got one of the more famous spots on the EBT, and for this I'll kind of go up here and show you from this house point of view. So this is the famous EBT fill. So we got, it's a giant fill from here all the way to the bridge here, and from the bridge all the way over to the cut. And you got a really cool little bridge in the background there that I'll show off, and then a lot of fields. Very photogenic. It's actually probably going to be one of the thumbnails that I use for the videos right there. Alright, moving on. Probably right there. That's my picture right there. But, so we got a truck driving down the bridge. Keep in mind a lot of the details, especially when you get further away from the route, aren't going to be as detailed. This route is going to be 33 miles when it's all said and done, and I cannot detail all the whole route to the extent that I would love to without absolutely crippling every computer that tries to download this. So it's going to be a game of balance. So my apologies. If you would love to go in and detail stuff after the fact, you're more than welcome to. However, this is not going to be one of those routes that you can re-release. Me and the person that have done this route take a lot of pride in what we've done, and we hope that you respect the amount of effort that's gone into this already, and the amount of effort that's going to continue to go into this to bring you a really cool route. But anyway, we got a cow farm here and all that. That little nugget in the background is actually not really little at all, but I'll explain that in a minute. There's a reason why that's there. But moving on, got down here, and this would be the end of modern day operations right here, which is the Colgate Y. So the original plan was to go from Orbisonia to here, cut it off right where you see the screen end, and call it a day, and then upload it, and then start with phase 2, which was actually supposed to be everything from Orbisonia to Saltillo. However, I really didn't like the fact that it just looked like I just chopped everything off, so I ended up detailing from here all the way to the town here, and then it was base detail because a lot of this is just farms and stuff. Emmett really came in clutch with putting the grass and the rocks and stuff, but a lot of the trees and stuff that are here are all mine. You'll know it's my stuff when you see the combination of these trees, the light and the dark. That's really my go-to. So all these that you see, that's all me. I remember in 2 days I got done from the Y all the way over to here, and Emmett was like, "What the hell did you do?" And I'm like, "Sorry." But anyway, so you got a lot of stuff. You'll know it's my sections when you start to see this. Emmett uses more of these trees over here. But anyway, moving on. So, alright, diving in. So we go across lots of fields, lots of stuff. But this, I'm going to stop on right here. This is, I think, Carpenter's Graveyard, I think is the name of it. But really cool fun fact is, yes, in real life, the train does literally cut right through the graveyard. So it's definitely something that I wanted to mimic with 100% accuracy. And that's what I got. So I think that just looks absolutely cool going through a graveyard. Now, whether or not I would actually stay in the graveyard to take pictures, probably not, because that's a little bit creepy. But really, really cool, and I think that's going to be a really cool scene for a lot of people. But moving on, that's where the detailing stops. From here on out, it is very much so you're going to see the workings of an in-progress route. Lots of floating stuff, lots of unfinished stuff, and even unpainted stuff. So moving on, we've got a cool scene here where you got 4 levels. You got the upper road, middle road, the track, and the what comes in here, which is the creek. So that's going to be a fun scene to do. Here we got a giant lumber yard. Again, bare bones. This is stuff that I just kind of threw together in an 8-hour span, so a lot of it's just basic detailing. We got a grade crossing here with a road that comes down here. This building is pretty important to the railroad. This was the pump house, so pretty neat thing there. But moving on, sorry I'm really skipping stuff, but I really got to worry about time because I've already chewed up 15 minutes and trying to make this a nice 30-minute video. But anyway, we got lots of fields here. At this point, we're really getting close to a really cool part of the railroad, which is, if that doesn't give it away, it's the Ogwick Trestle. So, you know how I said I really love the water back there at the pond? Well, this is why. I'm not really a fan of the way this looks just with the still water. Now, the still water will save GPUs. It will save a lot of GPUs, but I'm not really a fan of it. So I think for just this scene, I'm actually going to implement real water into it. But we'll see how it works. I definitely like the look of real water better. Yeah. But we'll see. Anyway, that's Ogwick Trestle. I hope you guys enjoy it. You got some details here. It's one of those scenes that I actually tried to detail a decent amount with. But anyway, moving on. This is where the detailing ends. We really just detailed that little scene there and that block. But anyway, moving on. Some base detailing here. If you want to look like what it looks like when I come through, it looks just about like this. And then, you know, we'll go in and we'll add the splines and stuff. But a lot of the base detailing that I do, it looks like this, just to kind of, I'll put down buildings, a couple of trees, I'll paint out the fields and stuff, leave some green where they're supposed to be in between the fields, but that's about what it looks like. But anyway, moving on, we got Adams Summit. From here, I'm going to take a little bit of time to explain that, yes, I did go all the way to Mount Union. Yes, I created the Mount Union yard. Yes, it is all dual gauge. It was a giant pain in my ass. Don't ask me any questions on anything else, because honestly at this point I don't even know. But this is the Mount Union yard as it stands right now. There is some final touches that I need to do with the track work due to limitations of Trainz. This is the only two assets that I can find that really kind of fit the aesthetic of Mount Union. So I'm going to have to edit the layout a little bit. So we'll have to see how that works out there. But anyway, moving on from there, Mount Union is going to be a huge undertaking. Just a little bit of an explanation. So the dual gauge here, while it looks good, it is not going to be functional. Just to show you, they are two different track assets. This will show you more. So you've got a narrow gauge track and you've got a standard gauge track. So keep in mind that. You can kind of see it here. Narrow gauge, standard gauge. Or right there. Right there you can see it. Narrow gauge, standard gauge. So it's two different track splines. Even if I were to do it as a single track spline, because there are some out there, they will not work because the attachment point for Trainz is actually right here in the middle of the track, not on the rails. So basically you either have the standard gauge engine clipping through the narrow gauge car here, or you have them connected, in which case some weird shit happens. So you see how this car is on the rail? Well, if they're connected, if the car is on the rail, then the engine is going to be off. So unfortunately, the dual gauge aspect is not going to work. So you're going to have standard gauge engines and cars that run on the standard gauge part of the yard, and you're going to have narrow gauge engines with narrow gauge cars that are going to run on the narrow gauge part of the yard. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, I will do a video all about Mount Union later. that'll basically very much show you, but you can picture it as two separate yards. One for the narrow gauge, one for the standard gauge. And they are not compatible with each other. So just keep that in mind. We'll dive into that at a later point. But that is the extent of where I've gotten to. More to come on that and what's to come in the future. We've got to get to that. But the plan for release is for me to get up to Mount Union, and when we're done with Mount Union, or in the case that we decide that we don't want to go that far, we will release it. So, without further ado, let's explain what the plan is. So, let's dive into the plan. So, the first phase of the railroad was only ever intended to be from the Rock Hill Furnace yard up to where the modern day excursions end, which are right here. So right about where my thing is right here is where we originally intended just to lop off the route and just call it at that for phase 1. Phase 2 was going to be to Mount Union. Actually, ironically, I changed it because I really wasn't up to Mount Union, and then I decided that I was. Don't ask me why. But the original plan was to stop here and then go south from Rock Hill Furnace to Saltillo. However, I decided against that for whatever reason, because apparently I like challenges, and I decided to royally fuck myself in the ass and do Mount Union. So that's going to be a big undertaking. Honestly, I do not know how long that's going to take to finish up Mount Union to the level of detail that the rest of the route is. And very clearly from what you saw, that there's a lot more to do with the railroad before we're going to release it, if we're in fact going to release all the way to Mount Union. However, if the plan is to release to right about here, like I said, and just call it at that just for phase 1, so that if you want to run the modern, more or less modern day operations of the railroad, you would be able to. So let me know which option you prefer. Would you like to run it just to the Colgate Y, which is right here where you see, or would you like to see me and the other creators finish all the way to Mount Union before our first release? Let us know in the comments. Really counting on you guys for the comments in this video, because I will be doing a tally, and depending on what comments I get, I'm really going to have to, it's really going to affect the route, so please let me know. I really hope this video does gain a lot of traction. But, alright, so, plan. Nugget. Why is there a nugget here? So, for those of you who don't know, this nugget is the symbol, the image of Nugget Trainz. So they've done a couple of routes that I think everybody should, go and check out. But they also do a lot of streams and stuff, and they're a bunch of really nice guys. And it's just they're a really cool community. I've gotten to know a lot of them, and so I was talking with a lot of the higher ups there, and especially the 2 co-founders, and they've actually agreed for me and the other creators to release this on their website. So we are planning on releasing phase 1 of the route, whether that be to Mount Union or just to the Colgate Y. Again, relying off of you guys to tell me which one you want. But depending on which one that is, the phase 1 of this project is going to be released on Nugget Trainz. So, yeah. So get excited for that. If those of you do know, Josh, Nugget Trainz, I won't really dive into too much, but he had his old computer kind of more or less exploded, so he really hasn't been able to do much in the way of trains because he hasn't had a computer up until very recently. So, there's not really much you can do. But so plans for the future: we are going to finish up this town here. we are going to finish the railroad in the year 1956 went to where the trolley line ends today, and it was cut off. However, if we're doing it in the years 1948 and prior, the Shade Gap branch would actually go all the way to Shade Gap, and the Joller branch would still be in active service. The Narco branch would still be in active service, and I forget what branch it is, but way over here, this branch right here that goes all the way over to here, this would still be in active service as well. This branch and the Joller branch and the Shade Gap branch were all closed in the year 1948. Pretty much from the year 1948 until the end of the EBT, it was just the main line going from Mount Union all the way to Robertsdale, which is right there. So, yeah. We do intend on, extending that. Let's dive into some of the details here. So, here, this is fictional, but it was really something that I wanted to drive home as a reminiscent object of the years gone by. So, the reason the Rock Hill Furnace has the name Rock Hill Furnace is because right here where you see this pile of coal and shit used to be a coke oven and iron furnace. And this is just a little nod to that. Actually, these would be here somewhere in the trees and buried, but these are old coke ovens, so I think it's pretty cool to throw in there as a little homage to what once was. This actually is modeled after a thing in Bethlehem, but anyway, those are one of the very few objects that you're going to have to download from the back shops. And if you're wondering, yes, there are Easter eggs in this. Here we have a gorilla. It's supposed to be a Sasquatch, but, I couldn't find a Sasquatch, so we're going to have a gorilla. I don't know if he's going to stay there. Since I spoiled his location, I might not. I might have to go put him somewhere else, but he'll be around. There are 20 other Easter eggs on the route as well for you guys to find, and there probably will be many more by the time we're done. Including that sailboat that you saw by the Juniata River. I don't know, that was just something I put down for fun. I thought the model was really cool, and I just wanted to see it in game, and honestly I never got to remove it. Now that it's been there, I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it. It's unrealistic. That boat's up in Boston. But anyway, so that's the plan, that's the scope, that's where I've been up to. If you liked this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, that's okay, leave me a thumbs down. It's a feedback regardless, and I appreciate your view. I thank you for your time on watching this. I hope you guys are excited for this route. I know that me and the team are. It has absolutely been a thrill to do it in the future, but it's been a thrill to do it so far. It's going to be a thrill to do it going forward, but yeah. So please let me know what you guys think. I thank you so much for your patience with the videos. I know it has been a very long time since I have released a video. I do apologize for that. I am very sorry. However, I needed a break from Trainz. There's no way for me to explain it other than I needed a break, and it is what it is. So, alrighty guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Very much appreciated. Much love from the Axis Trainz side of things. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.